Hello and welcome to World Talks. My name is Jakub Kaprzewski and you're watching TVP World. And we record at Sopot, a beautiful city at the Polish Baltic seaside, where European Financial Congress is taking place. And it's a very special conference, which is really a gathering of who's who in Polish financial sector, with a special focus on innovation this year. And there's no better person to talk about innovation than a guest that I have with me at the studio, Mr. Dan Breznitz, Chair Professor at the Munk School at the University of Toronto and author of the famous Innovation in Real Places. Hello, Professor.
Hello, Jacob. How are you?
I'm fine. However, I'm a little bit worried, and let me just tell you why. Because I think the AI race has put your book in a totally new spotlight. Because I think that AI has shown that innovation has become a numbers game. Mm-hmm. So the country or the player who's able to throw much more resources than the competition at the problem will emerge as a winner. And Central and Eastern Europe just doesn't have this kind of resources. So how can we still stay relevant if we just cannot, throw as much money at the AI as the Americans can or as the Chinese can? How can we stay relevant in this race or another innovation races that are going on around the world right now?
So first, thank you for having me here in this beautiful sea spot. And I think you have a very important question. But I think that question also shows how much we do not understand and how much we forget how innovation turned into prosperity for everyone. So if you are on ego and power and fame, and you're willing to spend trillions of dollars, mostly to lose them, then by all means go and compete with China and the US. But as many industries in the past, what you described was very similar in the race of semiconductors. And yet we now look who are the true winners. And one of the true winners is a small country called Taiwan. And the reason is while everybody around them competed, throwing a massive amount of money, if you remember, it was Japan, the US, South Korea, Taiwan said, that's very lovely. We are going to analyze how the industry is going, find the sweet spots, which are here, lock in with very small investment, develop those skills, and when you guys, boys, stop fighting and showing who has bigger hand muscles, we will make all the profit and all the power. And right now, all the world is dependent on Taiwan, and the United States is paying Taiwan billions of dollars to re-educate them how to make silicon.
Yeah, that's actually, that I can see. It's a very good strategy, and however, like a couple of years ago, when someone was thinking about contract manufacturing in the semiconductor industry, these were the small players, right? But now they are the most important and crucial in the global supply chain.
Of course.
So can we learn any lesson from this Taiwanese example? Can CE learn any lesson from this Taiwanese example?
Yes. I think that the most important thing that you should learn is what is really your innovation mission. It is a completely different thing for a country that wants to be a global power to claim that it wants to be an innovation leader. But if you're a society that wants to have peace, long-term prosperity, and you're a mid-sized power, your strategies should never be to compete with the biggest power. Your strategies should be to analyze how the industry is going and make informed, because you have so many highly educated people. Where are the chances of, if you invest correctly, you create a point of strength in the new industry, whether it's AI or the use of AI for energy, for example, or for mining, or for shipbuilding. Control those power points and also figure out how, by controlling them, you're creating jobs for people with different skills, not just for AI specialists. The countries that will do that will be the countries that 20 years from now will be rich and prosperous. The countries that do not do that, either, as you say, will lose, or will have a few Elon Musk and a lot of really, really poor people.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is let the big boys fight out the AI race, and then let the small players take the AI and build products, actually interesting products and usable products around them, and sell them as services.
Yes.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, again, with all due respect to some of my best friends, I'm part of a Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, so supposedly we partly invented AI. If you actually know how to make a lot of money long-term from AI, I would shake your hands. Because right now, nobody actually knows how to make real long-term money from AI. And this is a time where you can actually experiment at a low cost if your aim is not to control the models. If you say, I'm out of this game of building $1 trillion investment in data center, I don't see a future, a profit in that. I want to be where the industry starts to stabilize, the place where every AI industry, every AI company will have to go to Poland to get something, either a sub-component or a service or a skill. And that's where I aim to. And I do a hedge. I have a portfolio of bets around this. One of them, if I do it correctly, will ensure that I'll be rich.
But is there really place for small players from not major AI powers? Because the strategies of many AI companies, like those major ones, which are developing the frontier models, right? They are also looking for sources of revenue. So at the same time, they're developing the model and they are trying to build a usable service around them to also sell it. And this, of course, creates this friction because they are developing the services. Small players would like to develop the services. No, something's got to give, right?
Absolutely. But look right now at what those AI companies also do. They have created a whole array of other companies. Some of them you might heard about, like NVIDIA. Some of them you might never heard about, like Iron Mountains.
No, never heard about the second one.
I would highly recommend that if you were aware about the second one about 8 years ago, you would buy all the stocks you can.
Okay.
Because Iron Mountains is one of the companies that manage and build all those data centers.
Oh,
Okay.
Right. Data center business.
So yes, you're now focusing on exactly how you make it by the AI itself. I'm also suggesting that much of the money would be how to actually sustain the AI industry. All the infrastructure, all the services, all the telecommunication. We can start thinking about if AI is correct, what else would it need to succeed?
Energy.
Energy.
Why am I saying energy? Not because I know that energy is needed, but actually there's one politician in Central and Eastern Europe who specifically mentioned AI data center energy needs as a reason for his country turning towards nuclear power, and it's Slovakian's Prime Minister Robert Fico. When he announced that the country is going to build a second nuclear power plant, a totally, completely new one, he mentioned AI data center needs as one of the reasons his country should invest in nuclear energy. So maybe it's a path that may be, well, and there is a turn towards nuclear in Central and Eastern Europe, so maybe with the security of supply.
I would say that, especially since, as you know, we're very close to Russia at the moment and Ukraine. Things are not doing very well in the Middle East at the moment. AI supposedly is going to demand a lot of energy. A smart bet would be, let those people waste their money on AI. Let us figure out the energy needs of a future, whether it will be AI, whether it be because of war, whether it will be climate change that in Europe people are aware, no matter what the President of the United States says at the moment. And we will be the supplier of that to whoever wins after the wasted trillions of dollars.
Okay, but when it comes to AI, you've mentioned that we have like a vast amount of skilled engineers, and it's true. Poland has around 400,000 programmers, if I'm not mistaken. However, when it comes to chip manufacturing, we don't exist on the global stage, right? When it comes to data center business, We kind of have them, but they are mostly being built by foreign players. Energy, still, we don't control it. We need to buy it, or we need to build the infrastructure to have it. So we don't really have the strongest cards in the AI race, not to mention the financial underpinnings of the whole industry.
So two things. A, and I think rightly so, with all the handwriting, Poland came into the game and could very easily, or rather easily, became richer and richer by playing follow-up, by being a suppliers, by taking the technologies and the management skills, mostly of European companies, learning them and reaching that level. Now Poland has to decide what its future would be. And what you describe is, again, nothing, it's a tough situation, but nothing that has not happened in the past. Just look around you. Poland now, I read, is starting to think north-south, not just east-west. Look to the north, there's a small country called Finland. When the USSR broke down, Finland had the worst economic crisis in the history of the EU. And yet, look where Finland is now. Finland, again, does not try to do what Finland is not. They played in telecommunication, they were successful a while, then things happened, but they also put a huge amount of innovation and skills and software to control forestry and forestry management and how you use forests to do really high-end things, from mass timber to build houses to fuels for the jets, speaking about energy again. If Poland wants to play and wants to stay rich, it needs to figure out where it should play. It is clear that as a middle power, just like Canada, Poland should not aim to be the United States or China or not even India. Poland should figure out where it is in the world physically, what resources it has physically, what resources it has in human capital, and where it can have educated guests and incentivize and create policy to put innovation in those stages, in those industries, even if they're not sexy. Doing a huge amount of innovation to forestry or mining is not sexy. And yet, the countries that have done that and now control the global industry are much richer on average than the countries that spent a massive amount of time running after venture capital and the latest trend.
In other words, when it comes to CE prospects, you're an optimist.
I have to say, one of the wonderful things of coming here every 5 years is you might not notice it, but as a visitor, I noticed how much richer, more comfortable, more secure, and also smarter this economy has become. So if I was to put a bet, I don't know if the next 5 years would be great, but for the next 10 or 15 years, I'll put my bets on Poland.
I'm very happy to hear that from a Canadian. Dan Breznitz, Professor at the Munk School at the University of Toronto. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And this was World Talks. Stay tuned for more of our coverage from the European Financial Congress here at Sopot. My name is Jakub Keprzewski. Goodbye.